Hello everyone, how are you? How things are going? I hope that you are safe and you are okay and that your study is going on very well in these difficult times of the coronavirus COVID-19. I hope that you will be safe and may God bless you all. I hope that you are following me and you are catching up with the lectures. And of course, I always remind you that you can always contact me for any kind of help that you need. As you probably know, we have been discussing poetry, and this is of course section number 2 of our course, Introduction to Literature. And my purpose is to offer you as many poems as possible to help you understand the nature of poetry and to give you some instruction about how to analyze a poem. Our poem for today is a very challenging poem. Actually, it is very controversial because we have a lot of views about the poem and how the poem should be tackled. Our poem for today is Go and Catch a Falling Star by the famous English poet John Donne. Probably when I say go and catch a falling star, this could be an eye-catching kind of title. And probably when it falls on your ears, you might think, okay, what does he mean? Why does he want anybody to catch a falling star? In order to answer this question and any other questions that might occur to you, let us first read the poem, talk about its structure, and then try to have some analysis of the lines. After that, let us read what is between the lines and what is probably behind, what is probably beyond the lines. John Donne says, "Go and catch a falling star. Get with child a mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. Teach me to hear pyramids singing, or to keep off envy stinging, and find what twined serves to advance an honest mind. If thou best born to strange sights, things invisible to see, write 10,000 days and nights, till age snow white hairs on thee. Thou, when thou returnest, wilt tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. If thou findest one, let me know. Such a pilgrimage were sweet, yet don't, I would not go. Though at next door we might meet, though she were true when you met her. At last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to 2 or 3. This is our poem, page 49. Remember, this is page 49, if you want to follow what I am saying. Now, let me first try and analyze the lines as probably easy as possible. I will try to simplify things. I know that you are first-year students, and this is your first experience with poetry, and therefore I'll try to be as simple as possible. First, we notice that this poem is a kind of song-like version of a poem. Many people describe this poem as a song. So if you Google the song, I mean the poem, you will notice that many people describe it as a song, or they might say it's song-like. Even you can find some sites where it gives you the poem as a song. This poem is well known by its first title. It doesn't have a specific title. It has the first line of the poem as its title. So as you can see, song, then you have colon, go and catch a falling star. This is number one. When you say go, go is an imperative form. It gives you like an order. Okay, what am I supposed to do after going and catching a falling star? Number two, get with child a mandrake root. I will not talk about anything deep right now. I will analyze it later on. But a mandrake root is a kind of plant that has human shapes, and it was used in magic and witchcraft. So get with a child a mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are. Try and tell me where all the past goes. Or who cleft the devil's foot. And before I talk about this, notice root and foot. But root is different in a pronunciation from foot. So I am supposed to read as root and foot, so that I could have perfect rhyme. And if you remember, rhyme means similarity of the vowel plus the consonant. If I say root and foot, they rhyme. But if I say root and foot, they don't rhyme. So I am supposed to say root and foot. Okay, back to the devil and the foot of the devil. The writer here is trying to tell us that I want you to do some impossible tasks. Is it possible for anyone to catch a falling star? Or, you know what I mean by falling star? Yes, a star that is falling from the sky. Or you might call it a meteor. And also when the child is born, we don't have a mandrake root along with him or her. Tell me where all past years are. Okay, no one knows where the past goes. And no one knows why the devil's foot is clefted. Cleft here means like separated. It is believed, and this is part of superstition, or you might call it some folklore among people, that the devil is black and that the devil has a foot, and this foot is clefted like this. It's like the foot of the sheep. So why is it like this? And who did this? We don't know. Teach me to hear pyramids singing. Again, pyramids are part of what we call myths. They don't exist in real life. We always speak in Arabic about Hurriyat al-Bahr, but we don't know whether they exist or not. So teach me to hear pyramids singing, or to keep off envy stinging. Again, no one can stop or prevent envy. Okay? And find what wind. Again, I will say wind, not wind, because find and wind rhyme together, whereas find and wind do not rhyme together. This is what we call poetic license. Serve to advance an honest mind. Now, this is stanza number 1. Stanza number 2, if thou best born to strange sights. Now, the writer is asking again, but this time using if we clause. You know, if you can go and make a lot of adventures, and you will be exposed to all types of wonders. That is, all types of strange things that we may encounter in life. If you write 10,000 days and nights, that is a travel for a long period of time and cover a lot of distance. Till age snow white hairs on thee, till you become an old person. If your hair turns into white, then you became old. So it's possible for you to travel for a long time, but when you come back, you are going to tell me a lot of wonderful things that you saw, but you can never tell me that you can find a true and fair woman. And here we start to understand what the poet wants to say. I am moving step by step. I don't want to impose interpretations right from the very beginning. So it seems from what we have just said that the writer is taking us step by step to a kind of challenge, And the challenge is probably directed towards a listener who is supposed to be listening to the poet, or it could be the reader also. The reader is being challenged. And the challenge is to do the impossible task. Now, what is the impossible task? It is to find a woman who combines between two important qualities. She's beautiful, okay. Yes, we can easily find a woman who is beautiful. Number two, it seems that the poet believes that this is the difficult thing. The woman, in addition to her beauty, is faithful. According to our poet, John Donne, it is possible to find a woman who is beautiful. It is possible to find a woman who is faithful, but a woman who is both faithful and beautiful is something which is impossible to find. Okay, please write to me in your comments. Do you believe that all beautiful women are unfaithful? The last stanza. If thou findest one, let me know. Again, if you close type 1, if you can find a woman who is both fair, that is beautiful, and true, such a pilgrimage were sweet. I will go on pilgrimage to find a woman who is like this. You know, one of the important rites in Islam is to go and visit Mecca and to do something we call pilgrimage. And those who go on this journey are pilgrims. The writer is saying that if you can tell me that somewhere we can find a woman who is both beautiful and fair, beautiful and faithful, okay, just tell me. I will go and I will be ready for this kind of long journey. I will go on pilgrimage to find her. From the tone, you can feel that the poet says, even if you claim that you find one, I don't believe you. Yet don't. I would not go. Now, you know that the use of yet, if we speak grammar here, yet shows contrast. There is a contrast between the first thing and the thing that comes after it. Then the poet changes his mind and says, no, I will not go, because if you inform me that you can find a beautiful, faithful woman, I will not go. So he changes from acceptance to cynicism. And cynicism is when you are making fun of something, or when you are satirizing something. You are trying to be what we call in Arabic متهكم. يعني you are cynical about something. If this woman exists, by the time I make the pilgrimage and go to see her, she will have already changed. Even if she were in the past faithful, by the time I will go to the journey and try and find her, she will have betrayed 2 men or 3. So, though she were true when you met her and lost till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to 2 or 3. Okay. Now we have made a kind of simplified paraphrase of the poem, and now let us read between the lines, and let us go also beyond the lines if possible, but I will not go into sophisticated things because I take into consideration the things you told me about trying to be simple and trying not to go into details which might be difficult for you. If we think of the poem, first of all, I want to state some facts about the poem. It is song-like. It is better known by its first line. And the poem poses a challenge. The poem poses a challenge to the reader. Now, what is the challenge that the writer poses here? The challenge is to find a woman who is both beautiful and faithful. Now, what really lies behind this kind of challenge? Don't you think that there is an attitude behind that? Well, obviously, yes. Anyone who reads the poem at least 2 times will be able to understand that the poet is stating a point of view which resulted from his personal experience with women. No doubt about that. He believes that all beautiful women are morally corrupt. All beautiful women are morally corrupt. That is, you cannot find a woman who enjoys beauty. At the same time, she is constant with her lover. And constant means doesn't change. If she loves a guy, in other words, if she loves a guy, she keeps loving him. She does not betray him. Then this is what we call a constant woman. Constancy in women is doubted here in this poem. So there is an assumption behind this. The author seems to say that you can never find a beautiful, faithful woman, because beautiful women are basically corrupt. The poem is also ironic. And the other thing, the poem is symbolic. There are some symbols in the poem that we shall be talking about. At the same time, there is some humor, specifically in the 3rd stanza. In stanza number 3, we find that the poet is being humorous, specifically when he tells us that if someone tells him that there will be a faithful woman, he will try to go, but then he will change his mind because she will be unfaithful in no time. She will quickly turn into an unfaithful woman before he is able to reach there. These are some of the important points about the poem. Let us continue. Also, we can describe this poem as a cynical poem. A cynic is a person who develops a sort of pessimistic point of view about people, life, and things around him. So this is a cynical poem. When someone turns into a cynic, he turns into someone who is so pessimistic, and at the same time he is always like looking at the dark side of life in a humorous way. So the cynical poem here expresses a view that all beautiful women are unfaithful and false. This is a kind of thing that the speaker has in mind. So there could be some misogyny behind that. Misogyny means hatred of women. So this poem could be expressing a misogynistic, bitter and irrational complaint, likely motivated by the poet's misfortunes with women. You know that if someone of us lives a bad experience with someone, probably this person might do some sweeping generalization that if his lady didn't love him back or betrayed him, he will say, well, all women are horrible. And it's the same with the women, I believe. If a woman is betrayed by a man, she might say that all men are bad guys. So this could be a result of the poet's misfortune with women. So he questions the fidelity and the faithfulness of women, and not only questioning, but also he tries to state things which basically arise from his own experience. So in order to communicate his idea to the readers, the poet tries to construct a well-built poem of 3 stanzas. Each stanza, as you might have noticed, has 9 lines, okay, and each stanza has the same rhyme, which is A, B, A, B, C, C, D, D, D. Okay, so again, A, B, C, C, D, D. Okay. The poet in the first stanza tries to conjure a magical image of doing the impossible. There is something in literature we call hyperbole. 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 Hyperbole, which means exaggeration. The poet here is conjuring a magical image of doing the impossible, which is go and catch a falling star. While the star is falling, try and catch it. This is a hyperbole or exaggeration. And when I reach stanza 3 in my analysis, I will tell you why the poet says that. Now, why do you think the poet used the mandrake root in line number 2? Well, the mandrake root is a peculiar tree. It is believed that this kind of tree, and I would like to ask you to Google the word mandrake, M-A-N-D-R-A-K-E, and this kind of plant has a very peculiar kind of shape. It looks like men or women or children. It takes a human shape. This kind of plant has a long story in myths and also in practicing magic. It is believed that this tree has some secrets about impregnation, allowing women to conceive children, and also it is used in witchcraft and magic. And this kind of tree is claimed to have a kind of extraordinary power, that it screams. If you try to uproot it, it screams. And if you hear the scream of this kind of plant, you will be badly affected by the scream of the mandrake root. Also, this kind of plant is both hallucinogenic and narcotic, very much like drugs, it is believed. So the writer in the first stanza is challenging us with some impossible task, to catch a falling star and to get with a child a mandrake root, or to tell where the past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. No one knows who clefted the devil's foot, as I said, because it is something that exists in the minds of people. They believe that the devil has a foot which has a cleft in the middle, and nobody knows exactly why or how is this thing done to the devil. Teach me to hear pyramids singing. We don't know that we have pyramids. They have been mentioned in myths, but can we hear the pyramid singing? I think no. And we can never also stop people who are envious. You know, people who are envious are people who try to hurt others because these people are better than themselves. And why do they do that? Because they have the sting of envy. Envy stings as if it were a bee, and therefore we try to hurt other people. So how can we keep this off? If someone is envious deep inside, how can I stop him from being envious? And no one can know what kind of thing motivates the mind of the human being. Okay? Also, the poet in the second stanza says that you can do a lot of strange things in this life. And if you are the kind of person who enjoys adventures, well, go ahead and go and try to see strange things, things which are fabulous, or things which are not mundane. You cannot see them every day. You can even travel for thousands of days and nights till you become an old person. What is the thing which is metonymic of old age? Metonymic, like kinaya in Arabic. What is the thing which is metonymic of old age? It is having white hairs. You might become an old guy after traveling for a long period of time, and when you come back, you will tell me all the wonderful things, the fanciful things that you saw in your adventure, in your travel. But when you come back after that, no matter how amazing the things you tell me, you can never tell me that you found during your travels that you found a woman who is both faithful and beautiful at the same time. This is stanza number 2. Stanza number 3. The poet uses conditional clauses to challenge the reader and the listener, the assumed listener, to find one woman. I don't want 3, 4, 5 women. I just want you to find me one woman. If you do, or if you can really find a beautiful woman who is also faithful, I will go on pilgrimage to find her. I will be ready to go on pilgrimage to find her. Then the poet tries to say, okay, wait, I will not come. Even if you tell me, I will not come. Why? Though at next door we might meet, though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter. And by the time this traveler writes a letter to the speaker in the poem, to the effect that there is a beautiful, faithful woman, this woman would immediately change, and she will betray 2 or 3 men. In other words, he's trying to say that betrayal is an inherent quality in women. Women are unfaithful by nature. Even if they are faithful, they cannot remain faithful for a long period of time. So as you can imagine, and as you can see here, the theme is inconstancy of women. Women are inconstant according to the poet. And the poem is probably based on a comparison between 2 things. The impossibility of something like catching a falling star is exactly like finding an honest and beautiful woman. So here there is a kind of implied metaphor where the poet compares between the difficulty of catching a falling star and the difficulty of finding a faithful, beautiful woman. And here is the hyperbole, the exaggeration. You know, hyperbole means exaggeration. Now, when you think about it, isn't this a kind of hyperbole? Wow. Is it possible that all over the world, if we go around the globe, we cannot find one woman who is beautiful and faithful? I think this is a sort of exaggeration. And you can even read between the lines that the poet feels that only ugly women are faithful. And why are they faithful? because no one cares about them. So the speaker, as you can imagine here, asks his listener to inform him if he ever finds a beautiful, faithful woman. But the speaker goes back again, or let me say he retreats to his cynical outlook, that even if his listener sends him a word of this discovery, the woman will have betrayed at least 2 or 3 men by the time he reaches to her place. Okay, so I think a good assignment for you would be, do you believe that the poet is right in his assumption that beauty and faithfulness do not go together in women? You know, all the stuff about women, male chauvinism and prejudice against women is clearly stated in this poem. So do you agree with John Donne in his poem Go and Catch a Falling Star, that all women who are beautiful are unfaithful and only ugly women can show faith? Okay, so today we come to the end of our lecture. I hope that the poem opened some channels of thought in your beautiful brains. Thank you very much for being with me all the time, for your attentiveness and patience in these difficult situations. Thank you very much. See you next time. Goodbye.